a whole ear full of keratin like this. It's been troubling the patient for about 2 or 3 months now, and he finally decided to get it treated. So we're just at the entrance of his left ear. You can see there, that's not wax, that's actually keratin, and it's just right at the entrance there. So the keratin has adhered to the canal wall, so I'm just using the suction probe, trying to gently loosen this and retract this from the canal wall. And when you have dead skin, you do get a white glare coming back, so the light from the endoscope reflects off the dead skin, hence why you're seeing it glare a bit. And it can also glare off the hairs. You can see there's a few cilia there, a few hairs at the entrance. Quite often I read comments requesting information as to why we don't trim the hairs. So we don't trim the hairs because it doesn't really affect us. I know for viewing purposes, so if you're watching this and you want a kind of a fantastic view, it does get in the way somewhat, but in terms of me performing the procedure, it doesn't affect me. Very rarely, should I say, it affects me. So with any healthcare professional, you avoid doing unnecessary things, because by doing something unnecessary, you could have adverse effects, and then the patient can take you to court, really, litigation claim against whatever. So with hair, sometimes if you trim them, you can cut the hair, and then the patient's bleeding, and they can report as well, Neil trim my hair so he can get a better view, and I'll be questioned why, but what was the need to trim the hairs? So just a brief explanation there, because I know it does kind of bother some people that there is hairs there, but I hope that kind of explains that. So the keratin is quite stubborn, quite hard, so I've just gone in with the ear hook, and I was hoping just to get behind it and pull it out in one go, but it just sliced through it. So nonetheless, the ear hook did help me somewhat, because it did slice the dead skin, and so I've just gone back in with the Zollner suction probe here, and it's allowed me to remove this piece of dead skin. And you can see the skin there, you can see the texture of it, it's got kind of like a ribbon effect, and we're just pulling that there. It's quite a big piece. You can see, so a bit of remnants from that first tail of skin I removed at the top. Just going back in with the Zollner suction probe, and at the base of the ear canal, where I'm just now, you can see where that skin's adhered to the canal wall, and it's quite a thick layer of skin. It's not crusted. Sometimes if you get crusted dead skin, you can just use forceps and you can grip it and pull it out. It had a bit of give, so it was a bit of moisture there, so it was, although it was tough in terms of the thickness, it was a bit, it wasn't crusted and dry. And you'll see in a moment, there's another piece of skin that I went in with forceps, and you'll see that it will come up, I think the next shot actually. And forceps works very well if the skin is quite hard and crusted, and you can just get a good grip and it'll just come out in one go. And quite often the wax or the dead keratin comes out in the mold of the ear, it takes the shape of it. But in this case, you'll see I used the forceps on a couple of occasions, but it just simply teared the little pieces of skin. Here we are, so I'm just using some crocodile forceps there, got a good grip, and I was hoping it would all come out, but it just shredded the skin. But tried again, I thought, okay, let's get underneath the base where that plug of skin is adhered, and again, I've just gone in a bit further, just trying to get a good grip. But it's just slicing it, and it's shredding it, and I'll be there all day, really, all afternoon, trying to remove that. And again, I hope that explains why sometimes we don't use forceps all the time, as I know quite often people question that as well, and I think this is a good illustration. So forceps, yeah, it has its place, it can be very useful, but not always. So I've given up on the forceps, and I've just gone in with the suction probe. You can just see some of the ear canal there behind this layer of skin. And when you remove skin, you just have to loosen it from the canal wall, because it's adhered from the canal wall. So you make gentle brush strokes away from the canal, so you get a suction grip, and then you kind of lift away, and you can also wriggle it. So with the suction probe, I'm going around in circles, making concentric circles, and that's just helping to loosen the adhesion. Again, we're just right at the entrance, so we're just pulling this through. Now, how to differentiate between earwax and skin. So some of this may look like wax, but it's not. In actual fact, 60% of earwax is actually composed of dead skin. and the rest of the 40% is made up of fatty acid change, cholesterol, alcohols, and sweat, and all this combined composes earwax. But in this case, it's majority dead skin. So, and also with dead skin, it's the complexion. It often gives it's generally lighter in shade, and it has a glossy effect. So you can see here it's quite glossy. You're getting the reflection back. And that's normal with dead skin. You do get you get a reflection, and there's not much we can do about that really. So, and again, I know sometimes when it's glary, it's not the best view when you're viewing it. But for me, doing the procedure, it's not affecting me at all. We can reduce the exposure, so the exposure is the brightness of the endoscope, but in this case, it wasn't. Again, it wasn't impacting what I was doing in any way, shape, or form. So I've got another big piece there. Now there is a little bit of wax there. You can see now that's a bit darker and it's a bit softer, so that is a bit of wax, but it is attached to dead keratin again, so the skin is coating this piece of wax. And we're just going to pull this out, and here you'll see it's quite a long tail. With skin, when you remove skin, it often comes out in big long ribbons or tails, and that's another way of differentiating between wax and keratin dead skin. So I've got half of this long piece out, and I'm just going to now go further in the ear, and we're literally working at the entrance. I'm not even in the ear at the moment. This is the gateway of the entrance of the ear, and I'm just pulling this along. You can see I'm just wriggling it. So that is a bit of wax that I've attached to, but just surrounding it, coating it, you've got a layer of keratin dead skin. And we're nearly there with this piece, I do promise. It's not never ending. And we've got the occlusions out of the way, so I can see the eardrum there, and you can actually visualize the incus, the anvil bone, which is the second of the middle ear bones, and that's because this gentleman's quite young. His eardrum's translucent, so quite often with younger patients we can not only visualize the hammer bone, the malleus, we can also see through the eardrum with it being translucent and visualize the incus. And there's another long strip of skin, and I used a fine end for that, and there's just a bit of keratin just at the top. Again, it's not really significant, but because this patient has got problems with his skin shedding naturally from the ear, I just thought I'll get that, and it's just behind the ears, and we're just pulling this through. So in most people, the skin naturally sheds and migrates. It's a bit like a snake skin. So it's like a conveyor belt almost. Your ear secretes obviously a fresh layer of skin, that dies, sheds, beneath it there's another layer, and that outer layer should just naturally shed. That's all the contents from that patient's ear. So you can see there's quite a lot of skin there, you can see the ribbon, you can see the different shades, you can also see the wax, which is more in the middle of the still image. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. Have a great evening, and I'll try and upload some more videos in the next few days. Take care, bye.